Biggest nights in MMA.
We are now set for the main event.
Ronaldo with the shot. Let's go. One of the greats. Champions of the world.
There's all to play for, which is so exciting. These teams have to come in here and give it their all.
Have a real nice tempo. Goes baseline, watch out.
Oh, my!
Oh, baby! All the way down the runway for a big-time throwdown.
That's a lot of fans out there.
Look at that! The drama keeps continuing, Jenny.
This is just brilliant.
He strikes. Starts as you mean to go on.
But this is the danger of the top two guys, and that nuclear weapon that is.
Whoa, hello, goodbye. Score! In the back of the net.
And shoots. Score!
Of Serie A action. We'll bring you so much of it here on DAZN.
Magnificent. That is tremendous.
Catching up on any NFL game is easier than ever before.
Going deep for it all. Devontae Smith. He has got it. Touchdown.
Your Eagles are world champions again.
DAZN is the home of boxing.
Really spurs you on, gets you going.
Let's make history. Pure power. There's no way back from this, surely.
My grandfather believed the dead would return.
Kunda. I would give anything for us to be together again.
Evil Dead Burn, rated R, July 10th.
When Conor McGregor fights, you're witnessing something once in a lifetime.
Surprise, surprise, the king is back.
All my life I want money and power.
Oh! Conor McGregor transcended the sport.
Max Holloway.
That's a real warrior. I'm right here. You're in for a treat.
McGregor versus Holloway, Saturday, July 11th. Free with your subscription, only on Paramount Plus.
The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, a city that knows a little something about winning championships, where on July 4th, there will be fireworks over Lake Erie to celebrate Independence Day, and maybe a few inside the Wolstein Center, where Cleveland's own Abdullah Mason will make the first defense of his 135-pound title against the undefeated Albert Bell. Chris Mannix alongside the Latin Snake, Sergio Moore, former junior middleweight champion. And Sergio, it is a phenomenal day to be a boxing fan, because not only are we getting a big fight card here on DAZN, a world title defense, but this is also part of the new partnership with TNT Sports that will see its broadcast all across the TNT platforms. And it's all part of a 6-fight card here on Saturday, beginning with both the young Mason brothers, Durham and Ibrahim Mason, taking part of the undercard, and then the 4-fight main card. Scooter Davis takes on Carlos Ramos in a 135-pound fight. Tiger Johnson, 2020 U.S. Olympian, taking another step towards welterweight gold. He takes on the Canadian Christopher Guerrero. And then Shushu Carrington, he takes the first defense of his 126-pound title against the Mexican Rene Palacios. And then the main event, Abdullah Mason, the youngest world champion in boxing, makes the first defense of his 135-pound title against the undefeated Albert Bell. Well, Sergio, I mentioned this is part of a new deal between DAZN and TNT, which see one fight card a month broadcast on Turner Sports. You're a guy that knows a little bit of something about fighting on big platforms. How big a deal do you think this is for boxing?
It's a huge deal because, look, we're fighting on network television, on cable television. You get new eyeballs. You get a new demographic. You get a whole new viewership, not just a hardcore boxing fans. That's how you make new fans. That's how you create a new star. And believe me, whenever you're fighting on cable and network and all these, you get different people watching your fights. You get the moms, the dads, the grandparents. Those are the casuals that you want to pull into the beautiful sport.
You always accuse grandparents of not being able to download apps.
I had a lot of grandmother fans. I had a lot of grandmother fans.
Okay, all right. That's just a strange thing to say. You mentioned creating new stars.
Yeah.
And it was just a few days ago we had maybe a new star born in the 154-pound division. Jerron Boots Ennis picking up 2 pieces of the junior middleweight title, knocking out Xander Zayas in 7 rounds. What are you still thinking about now about that fight from last weekend?
I am still buzzing from that performance and that electric night at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This man put up one of the fight of the year type fights. Both these fighters, Xander showed incredible heart, but the resilience on that man right there, Boots Ennis, being able to get rocked, withstanding the fire, sticking in the pocket, rolling with shots, coming back with uppercuts, hurting him to the body. That was an electric performance, a pound-for-pound performance. And I remember that it's just greatness that we're watching.
Well, that's the big question now. Is Boots Ennis worthy of being on the pound-for-pound list? He is now clearly #1 in the junior middleweight division, but do you make him pound-for-pound top 10?
I know what I'm watching. Boots Ennis passed that eye test. I think he cracks the top 10 pound for pound, because whenever you have an exciting fighter like that could put butts in seats, goes for the knockout, has a high knockout ratio, but has the skills to back it up, absolutely, pound for pound.
All right, you mentioned the eye test, and a guy that passed the eye test his last time out is Abdullah Mason, now the newly crowned WBO 135-pound champion. He goes over to Saudi Arabia last November and defeats Sam Noakes by decision. Sergio, what impressed you about that performance?
Well, listen, just like Boots, there's many similarities with Abdullah Mason, and we called this fight all credit to Sam Noakes. He put on a fight of the year type performance, but that man right there just found a way to dig down, hurt Noakes to the body. It was those angles that impressed me with the young champ. It was the fact that he kept going to the body even when he was getting those headshots, going around the guard from that southpaw stance. Look at those body shots right there. That makes cowards of us all, digging to those ribs. Noakes, as brave as he was, got the fight taken out of him. And this is a type of fighter that fans want to pay for. And the fact that he's here in his hometown, in his home state, he just wants to shine even brighter.
Yeah, I love that he's getting a hometown title defense. I think that's a great thing for a young fighter. It's just selling a lot of tickets here in the Cleveland area. It wouldn't be boxing, though, if there wasn't a little bit of drama involved in it. And about a couple of weeks ago, where Joe Cordina, the scheduled opponent for Abdullah Mason, he was forced to pull out, had some visa issues trying to get into the United States. In steps Albert Bell, who was preparing for a fight on July 18th. He is undefeated, but he's a very different type of fighter than Joe Cordina, isn't he?
A lot different, and I would think a lot tougher. I mean, beware the late replacement, especially when you were training to fight a shorter fighter. Now you're dealing with a 6-foot fighter, a guy with long arms, a guy that knows how to come forward, a fighter in Albert Bell that's very patient, carries the confidence of an undefeated fighter. But once he gets on the inside, those long arms turn into uppercuts and body shots. Very dangerous fight, especially as a late replacement. I would say this is one of those curses that can catch up to you in the hometown curse and the late replacement curse.
Yeah, remember, Top Rank is familiar with Albert Bell. They promoted him several years ago. Now they're putting him in a position with their young star to fight for a world title. Well, a lot to get to and a lot coming up here on DAZN and a lot of ways to watch and enjoy all the action. We have a fantastic slate of pay-per-view fights coming up on DAZN, all available on DAZN Ultimate. Next up, see the return of Anthony Joshua, the former heavyweight champion, fighting an unknown quantity with absolutely nothing to lose in Christian Prenga on July 25th. Then, generational heavyweight Mo Satalma looks to continue his rise against his toughest opponent yet, Filip Hrgović, one of the best heavyweights in all of boxing, followed by Canelo Alvarez stepping back into the ring against Christian Mbili with a WBC title on the line. All these fights are available via the DAZN Ultimate subscription. This press conference is just about to kick off, but as I mentioned, a lot of ways to watch a lot of great fights here on DAZN.
The first rule of DAZN Ultimate.
The first rule.
You do not pay-per-view.
You do not.
You do not pay-per-view.
Do not pay-per-view.
The Ultimate Fight Night is here.
Second rule, DAZN Ultimate is. Second rule,
you don't pay-per-view.
Because Ultimate gives you a minimum of 12 pay-per-view fights a year.
At no extra cost.
You do not pay per view. Join us ringside and welcome to DAZN Ultimate.
A future legend.
The real fireworks will be in the ring.
The Fight, a boxing series from TNT Sports and DAZN. One night so charged, 2 championship belts are on the line.
Let's light it up.
Shushu Carrington defends his title against Rene Palacios. Then Albert Bell battles WBO lightweight champion Abdullah Mason. The fight is on Saturday at 7 on TNT, True TV, and stream on DAZN.
Well, welcome everybody to the final press conference for Saturday's show, which will be headlined by the homecoming of 135-pound champion Abdullah Mason, who will take on the undefeated lightweight contender Albert Bell. This will be the first event in the new monthly series between DAZN and TNT, which will bring the fight to audiences on TNT's linear platform and continue to stream these fights globally on DAZN. TNT has put together its own impressive talent lineup. You got former pound-for-pound king Terrence Crawford. You have the Hall of Famer Tim Bradley and 2-time welterweight champion Sean Porter, who will be part of what should be outstanding pre- and post-fight coverage. And of course, on the cards, you've got the guy that won a reality TV show 35 years ago, Sergio Mora. He'd like to remind you, 10 million people watched that show. A lot of the tickets that are being sold right now are for Abdullah Mason. Tickets still available over at Ticketmaster.com, but there is a lot of interest in this undercard as well, which will include 2 other Masons. Abdurrahman Mason, 2-0 as a super featherweight, and Ibrahim, who is also 2-0 in his career at lightweight. I think your father is going to be very busy going back and forth on the ring on fight night. And to open the show, we have the heavy-handed Scooter Davis taking on the veteran Carlos Ramos. We have all the fighters here up here on the stage. We're going to hear from all of them. But first, to my left, Carl Moretti, Vice President over at Top Rank. Carl, it's been, I believe, 20 years since there was the last championship fight here in Cleveland, Ohio. It's also been, I should note, nearly a century since Max Schmeling fought young Sibley.
I gave you that note.
You did give me that note. It's a pretty good one. And
Bob promoted it.
Bob promoted that fight, right. 1931, Bob. I believe you were there. Still a young man back in those days. That was an electric fight back then. I know you're expecting a pretty good night here in Cleveland on Saturday.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks to Cleveland and all of OH10 for coming out and showing support to the show. First, a quick public service announcement, as Chris alluded to. There are no more comp tickets, so stop asking. The box office is open, reasonably priced. The way this is going, it's going to sell out. Everybody's on some gate money here, so we'd appreciate your support. But, you know, you lead it off with the Mason brothers, 1-2, coming up. And then the next one, we call him, half of DC will probably be here with Scooter, Sharp, Season Davis coming out. What you want to see, a great prospect fighting a veteran who, you know, will give him everything he needs. A great team around him with his parents, Barry Hunter and the guys from Headbangers in DC. So all in all, it's a great night. It's not just Abdullah.
Yeah, a lot of great fights here on the card. I want to start down the ends with the Masons. This is a Mason Brothers show on Saturday that begins with the two of you. Abdurrahman, 2-0 now in the super featherweight division. How are you feeling about this homecoming fight, and kind of what are you hoping to show in an event like this?
First, I want to say thank you to my brother, to Top Rank, my dad, to anybody else that made this happen. I'm looking to put on a performance. You know, I'm grateful to be here. This is going to be my first one on TV, so I'm looking to do my thing.
You know, you guys have been training together, I'm sure, for some time. You've been boxing together since you were very young. But is there a little bit of extra juice when you're all fighting on the same card like this?
Usually it is. Yeah, we had a couple times all of us fight together on the card. So, yeah.
What do you think that people are going to be saying about you after this fight?
You're gonna have to wait and see.
Something special, maybe?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ibrahim, we'll turn to you. Kind of the same question, like being on the same card with your brothers, being back here, fighting at home in Cleveland, Ohio. Is there a little bit of extra juice in a fight like this?
For sure. We've been working towards something like this for a while. It's finally here. Then we excited to just put on the show for Cleveland.
You guys are all kind of around the same weight divisions, roughly. When you get into training, how much sparring is there done together? How much work is there done together?
We don't spar too much. We don't be bloodying each other up or nothing, but we touch around. It's definitely like 5 eyes on one person, on every person. So that's the good thing about all of us training together.
You're all looking to perform on DAZN, on TNT. Is there any competition maybe for who's going to have the best performance of the night?
We all focused on our fights. I would just say that. We all focused to put on the show.
I'll ask you the same question. After a fight like this, a lot of eyeballs on you, a lot of people inside the Wallstein Center, a lot of people watching worldwide. What do you hope that people are saying about you after a fight like this?
Something like that. But I'm not going to say too much. I'm just excited for Saturday to put on the show. I'm pretty sure all the other fighters, or most of them, feel the same way about Saturday. So we going out there and performing.
All right. Well, good luck to both of you on Saturday. Open up the show here in Cleveland. Carlos Ramos, you'll open up the main part of the broadcast on Saturday night. Coming in, taking on Scooter Davis here. What are you feeling now going into this fight?
Hola, buenas tardes. Primero quiero agradecer a DAZN por esta oportunidad. Estoy concentrado y muy bien preparado para esta pelea. He hecho un gran sparring, un gran campamento y estoy listo para el 4 de julio salir con una victoria.
Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, thank you to Top Rank for the opportunity. I am very concentrated and I'm very well prepared for this fight. We've had great sparring, we've had a great camp, and I'm ready to walk away with the victory on July 4.
Your advantage coming into this fight is probably experience. You've boxed, I think, 5 times as many rounds as Scooter Davis. Can experience be an advantage for you in this fight?
Sí, la experiencia es una gran ventaja para mí en este combate. So, tengo que trabajar sobre mi experiencia y la verdad estoy listo para todo lo que venga. Estoy listo para esta pelea con Derek Davis.
Yes, the experience will give me a great advantage, and I need to build on that experience. And so I'm ready for anything that comes, and I'm ready to fight against Derek Davis.
Oh, and it says, I can't wait for the fight to start. I'm going to kick his ass.
Scooter.
Well, along those lines, Carlos, what do you have to do? I'm sure there's a lot of things you've been working on in this camp, but what do you have to do to beat this man on Saturday?
Sí, estoy enfocado, tengo que trabajar bien sobre el trabajo que se ha hecho en el gimnasio, en los sparring. So, tengo que no salirme del plan de trabajo y estar serio desde el primero hasta el 8º round y dar una guerra para poder salir con la victoria.
Yes, I have to be focused. I have to work on what was done in the gym, on the sparring that I've done. I cannot deviate from the game plan, and I have to be on top of everything from the 1st round until the 8th round and be ready to give a war in order to walk away with the victory.
Said you're ready to give a war. Do you think you can stop him?
Sí, obviamente. Tengo varios caos en mi carrera y yo creo que si todo sale como yo tengo pensado, pues el KO llega solo y claro que sí puede llevar un knockout.
Yes, obviously, because I have various knockouts in my career, and I think that can happen if all goes as I have planned it, and the knockout will come by itself. But yes, of course, I can knock him out.
Good luck to you on Saturday, Carlos. Scooter, we'll turn over to you. I want to get to that knockout stuff, but quick turnaround for you. 70 days, I think it is, between your last two fights. How are you feeling physically going into this fight?
First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for just bringing me here. I'm a kid from D.C., and I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, in front of on Top Rank, on DAZN, on TNT. Hey, man, I'm ready to do my thing. I had a nice, long camp. Took a couple of days off after the fight just to get my body together, but I'm ready to do this thing, man. It's time. It's shock season. You were in, I believe it was kind of a 50-50 fight last time out. And you showed out in that fight. What do you think you showed people in that last performance? I showed that I'm able to go rounds. I'm showed that I have different things in my bag. I can box, I can bang, I can use my ring generalships. I have IQ. I listen to my trainers. I can do anything in the ring. Do you see you've had a full camp going to this? You had a chance to study this man, Carlos Ramos. What do you see when you watch him? Man, we ain't going to give him too much. Man, we just going to do our thing, man. We're going to stick to the game plan. Coach Barry Hunter, Patrice Harris, Boogie Harris, James Harris, and Joshua Parker, man, they put in a great amount of work in the gym for me, put a hell of a game plan for me, so I'm going to implement what I do, and I'm going to beat a shot. That's what we do. Yeah, I saw Barry and you earlier in the day. Barry, very complimentary of what he's seen from you so far. What has it meant to you kind of working under him, and what have you learned in your professional ranks? I've been with Barry since the age of 10, man. He always just said I was special. And he just always wanted to keep that toolage under him. And I appreciate him for just taking the time out just to see a young kid and say, I'm going to put, all this knowledge into him. I'm ready to do my thing. Like, it is what it is. He said he can stop me. So he got a little bit too much dip on his chip, but it's cool. It sounds like he's preparing for a war in the ring to open the show. Is that the kind of fight you're preparing for? I'm preparing for a win. I'm preparing for a spectacular, dominant performance. That's what I'm going to do. You're the guy from D.C. on this card. Do you think you can steal the show from all the guys from Cleveland? Absolutely. I'm sorry. I know this y'all hometown, but I'm coming to steal the show. I love y'all. Though. All right, Scooter. Good luck to you on Saturday as well. Good luck to everybody up here on the stage. We're going to take some pictures with these guys, reset, and come back with the main event press conference. The Mason brothers, two young stars in boxing, getting the opportunity to fight on the big stage on their brother's undercard. What do you think of these two?
Well, anytime you have a fighting family, just like we do with Keyshawn Davis and a lot of successful world champions, it's always a younger brother that always ends up panning out. I don't know why that is, but the younger brothers always do well. But these guys are undefeated. They're all punchers. They all have that Ohio championship bloodline.
And here you see the fight that is going to open up our broadcast on Saturday. Scooter Davis, undefeated in the pro ranks. Got a tough test in front of him, but this is about Scooter Davis. D.C. raised Barry Hunter as his trainer. A lot of people think he's special. Good power. What do you think of him?
Yeah, anytime you have a high knockout ratio like he does, 10 knockouts and 11 fights, I like Davis, but these are the type of fights that actually make you better because he's not in there with someone that's just going to fall over. Ramos is a tough guy. He's been through the fire.
I like that both these guys are saying that they're prepared for war. Big stage for both of them. A lot of opportunity here opening up the show. Ramos goes for the handshake. Scooter says, nah, we're not doing that right now. That should be a tremendous fight to open this show, all part of a terrific card here on DAZN. A lot to get to when it comes to that press conference, and a lot of activity, I think, on the bottom of the card. I like this, what I'm seeing out of Scooter Ramos, but it's all about what we're going to get on the main portion of the card. 2 championships on the line, the 126-pound title with Shushu Carrington, of course, Abdullah Mason's 135-pound crown. It opens the show, Sergio, with Tiger Johnson, who might be inching his way towards a world title shot of his own. 2020 U.S. Olympian, undefeated now in the pro ranks. What do you like about Tiger Johnson?
Just like everyone on this card, I like what I see with Johnson. I mean, he fights good on the outside, fights good on the inside, is more of a boxer than a puncher, but he can punch. He gets on the inside, always digs to the body, tall, lanky frame. I like what I see with him. All these guys pass the eye test, Mannix. That's why this side of the world, every time, I remember Ohio, Michigan, these guys can always box. They have that toughness, that meanness. So they're always going for the knockout. They never forget about the body, and they do well against the come-forward aggressive style. They do well against Mexicans, against Puerto Ricans. They do well against that pressure, come-forward boxing type. So look, that's what I'm impressed with. The fact that he can dig the body, go for the knockout, get it, and move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think he's got a good test in front of him. Christopher Guerrero, a good litmus test for where he is as a fighter. If he looks spectacular in that fight, we could be talking about Tiger Johnson fighting for a world title in the very near future. The co-main event, Shushu Carrington, the newly crowned 126-pound champion, goes into his backyard of New York City, scores a spectacular knockout win over Carlos Castro. What I liked about that performance, Sergio, is that Shushu had to go through the fire. He got hurt in the mid-rounds of that fight, but he found a way to close the show.
It was a chef's kiss, just like we saw with Boots getting rocked. We saw a little bit of that as well with Shushu. It's always dangerous fighting in your hometown, especially in the City of Lights in New York. That man right there from Brooklyn put a Brooklyn beat down. Right hands like that, they're not gonna. You can't take too many shots like that. Right on the tip of the chin, you could see that Castro was out on his feet, did not forget the body, picked them up. Boom. That's what fans remember. That's what we want to see a lot more of Shushu Carrington, the shoe era, as he says.
Shushu Carrington taking on Rene Palacios in a big fight. He's hoping for bigger fights to come out of that. Unification fights, hopefully later this year. 3 other champions out there at 126 pounds. Shushu wants a piece of any one of them. The main event, Sergio, Abdullah Mason, 135-pound title holder, goes over to Saudi Arabia to knock off Sam Noakes. That was a tough fight. Sam Noakes was not someone that was too well known globally, but he was an older fighter. He had just as much professional experience in terms of rounds. He was tough. He was durable, but Abdullah Mason found a way to get the job done.
Yeah, I praise Sam Noakes for the performance that he put up, and it was a Fight of the Year candidate, in my opinion. But Mason passed the test, which is what we want to see with young fighters that are going to fight for a title and a challenge. They went through the fire. They were able to be resilient, pass the test, and he did it in a fight where it went the distance. He had to stay focused the entire time against Noakes, who was hungry. This was a Brit that came across the pond to do something great. It panned out as a great fight, but he was on the end of the decision. But we got a star in Mason, a future star.
Yeah, it's great to see Abdullah Mason in his hometown. You heard Carl Moretti from Top Rank up there moments ago. No more comp tickets available. This fight is selling extremely well. Ticketmaster.com is where you get your tickets. I think it's going to be a great crowd at the Wolstein Center on Saturday night. Well, there are a lot of great fights coming up here on DAZN and a lot of ways to watch these fights. And it begins Anthony Joshua making his return on July 25th, taking on the unknown but dangerous puncher in Christian Prenga. And then we've got the future of the heavyweight division. Moses Etalma, undefeated. He gets the toughest test of his career when he takes on Filip Hrgovic, who has been one of the best fighters in this weight class for quite some time. And then coming in October, Canelo Alvarez, the return. He takes on Christian Mbili, trying to become a super middleweight champion once again. That will be a firefight over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Lots of ways to watch. The DAZN Ultimate Package is where you want to get it. So we're ready now for the main event press conference, which is setting up one of the many great fights coming up on DAZN.
The first rule of DAZN Ultimate.
The first rule.
You do not pay-per-view.
You do not.
You do not pay-per-view.
Do not pay-per-view.
The Ultimate Fight Night is here.
Second rule, DAZN Ultimate is.
Second rule.
You don't pay-per-view.
Because Ultimate gives you a minimum of 12 pay-per-view fights a year.
At no extra cost.
You do not pay per view. Join us ringside and welcome to DAZN Ultimate.
A future legend.
The real fireworks will be in the ring.
The Fight, a boxing series from TNT Sports and DAZN. One night so charged, 2 championship belts are on the line.
Let's light it up.
Shushu Carrington defends his title against Rene Palacios. Then Albert Bell battles WBO lightweight champion Abdullah Mason. The fight is on Saturday at 7 on TNT, True TV, and stream on DAZN.
Welcome back, everyone, for the main event portion of the press conference. And the reason that we are here in Northeast Ohio, last November, Abdullah Mason not only became boxing's youngest world champion when he knocked off Sam Noakes, he also became Cleveland's first title holder since Mickey Bay held a piece of the 135 crown back in 2014. I know everyone at Top Rank sees a future star in Abdullah, but he's going to have to prove it on Saturday night against Albert Bell, the undefeated, longtime contender in this weight class who wins most of his fights either by knockout or by shutout. We also have a couple of other excellent fights on this undercard. Bruce Shushu Carrington, one of the best young fighters in all of boxing. He will make the first defense of his 126-pound title against Rene Palacios. And Tiger Johnson, another Cleveland native, fast-rising welterweight contender. He will take on undefeated Christopher Guerrero. Tickets for this event at the Wolstein Center are on sale now over at Ticketmaster.com. If you can't be here on fight night, you can watch live on TNT over in the U.S. or globally on DAZN. We've got most of the fighters up here on the stage. I want to introduce the 2 fighters that are fighting in the main event. First up, the challenger, undefeated from Toledo. He is Albert Prince Bell. And next up, we have the defending champion making the first defense of his 135-pound championship, the youngest world champion in boxing today, the undefeated Abdullah Mason. All right, we've got all the fighters up here on the stage. Plenty of gold up here on the stage as well with these championship belts. It's going to be a great show beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on TNT and DAZN. And, Carl, this is what it's all about, right? You've got world champions up here in world title defenses. A young man, Abdullah Mason, making his homecoming in front of a packed house here in Cleveland. It's pretty much as good as it gets.
It is, and to prove that, the combined record of all these guys is 117-0 with 1 draw and 53 knockouts. So 3 guys are going away with something on their mark, but it's a credit to all of them to fight that kind of quality opposition on this type of show, and we can't wait for it.
Yeah, there's some great fights right from the very beginning, and I want to start to my left, Christopher Guerrero, who will take on Tiger Johnson. And Christopher, Tiger Johnson is the undefeated prospect. You are also undefeated. I'm sure you also believe that you belong amongst the names of the very best in your weight class. How are you feeling going into this fight?
First off, I want to thank Top Rank and everyone that put together this thing to give me this opportunity. I feel great. I feel amazing. I feel it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good night.
So what do you have to do to win a fight like this? Going into somebody's backyard, fighting an Olympian like Tiger Johnson, what are the musts that you have to do?
You just got to remain calm, got to remain confident and just don't block out all the noise, You hear the chirps, you hear everything, so just block it out and just keep going.
So there's plenty of footage out there about Tiger Johnson, from the Olympics, the pro ranks now. When you watch that footage of him, what do you see?
I see a good, great opponent, a valiant opponent, We got to get ready for this. We got to get ready for this. We have to get ready for him the best way we could, and I'll be ready Saturday night.
So how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday?
Me victorious, for sure.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Christopher. Saturday night, Christopher Guerrero, undefeated, trying to keep that perfect record. And he'll try to do it against Tiger Johnson, 2020 U.S. Olympian, also undefeated. And also from right here in Cleveland, Ohio. Tiger, we've talked a lot about the Masons, but this is your backyard here as well. How are you feeling about making this fight here in Cleveland?
Oh, no, man, I feel good, man. You know, I want to give a huge shout-out to Top Rank. You know, huge shout-out to Bob Brown, you know, my manager, Dave McWaters. And, man, I feel good, man. You know, this is a dream come true, you know. Outside of my Olympic dream, you know, I wanted to always fight in Cleveland in front of, you know, my friends and family. So, you know, we're going to put on the show Saturday.
Last time out, you were in something of a 50-50 fight going into it, and you put out maybe your best performance, one of your best performances of your career. What do you think you showed in that last fight?
I mean, they say it was a 50-50 fight. You know, I told y'all what I was going to do. I told Paulie, I told Chris Algieri I was going to knock him out, and, you know, everybody was sleeping on me, so I had to sleep him to show everybody to stop sleeping on me.
You're going up against an undefeated guy in Christopher Guerrero. I asked him what he saw when he watched you. What do you see when you watch him?
You know, he's 16-0 for a reason. You know what I mean? You know, but at the end of the day, I don't believe there's nobody in my division that's talented as me and has the abilities that I got. So I'm here to prove again Saturday why I'm the best at welterweight.
Well, along those lines, you know you're itching to get that first world title fight. You're climbing the rankings. How close do you think you are to getting that opportunity?
I feel like I'm real close, you know, but, you know, we got to take care of business Saturday, then we'll worry about that after.
You said you told the commentators going into the last fight that you were going to win that fight by knockout. How are you going to win this fight?
Same thing. You know, I'm going there and have fun. You know, listen to my team. You know, we had a very good camp. You know, we worked on, you know, a lot of things for my last fight. And, you know, we're going to keep improving each fight. We're going to go in there and have fun.
All right. Well, good luck to you on Saturday, Tiger.
Also, too, I want to give a huge shout-out to someone who played a big impact in my life. You know, Coach Renard Sappho. So, you know, he was my Olympian coach. You know, yeah, he played a big part in my life, man. So huge shout out to Coach Sappho.
All right, Renee Palacios, over here to my left. Your first world title fight, your first scheduled 12-round fight. How are you feeling going into this one?
Primero que nada, muchas gracias a todos aquí, el público, a la prensa por estar presentes, también a Top Rank, a Mauricio Solimán, Chuchu, por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí compitiendo el título del mundo, y principalmente a Dios por darme la oportunidad de estar aquí. Estoy muy contento, estoy muy feliz, me siento demasiado entusiasmado porque si llega el día, así que nos vemos el día 4 de julio.
First of all, thanks to all the people here. Thanks to all the media. Thank you to Top Rank, to Mauricio Suleiman, and of course to Shushu for giving me the opportunity at this world title. And of course, above all, I want to thank God because I'm here today. I feel happy. I feel enthused because the day is coming where I will fight for a world title.
You were a big underdog in your last fight, and you came away with the win. You're a big underdog going into this fight. Do you think you're being underestimated again?
Sí, sí pasa. Yo creo que así pasó mi pelea pasada, pero vengo listo, estoy preparado para lo que sea. Mentalmente vengo fuertísimo, hice un campamento impresionante, espectacular, perfecto. Entonces, yo sé que el día 4 de julio es el día de la independencia, lo respeto mucho, pero esa noche se va a escuchar el grito mexicano.
Yes. For everything. I come mentally strong. I had an impressive camp, a spectacular camp, and I know that the 4th of July is the Independence Day here in the United States, and I respect that, but Mexico will win on Saturday.
Shushu's coming off that world title win over Carlos Castro back in January. Did you see things in that fight that you think you can take advantage of?
Claro, como todos, yo creo que hay cosas que mejorar, hay cosas que ver del rival siempre, y hay algo que hemos visto sus errores, hay que seguir el plan de trabajo. Seguir el plan de trabajo como lo hicimos en el campamento, pero estamos listos.
Yes, of course. Like all fighters, there are things that you can improve on, things that you can see in your opponent. There are some things that you can correct. We've seen those errors, and so we're going to stick to that game plan and work on that on fight night.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Renee, on Saturday. Shushu, we'll turn to you. Got that green belt, carrying it everywhere I see you. Proud champion right now. Deservedly so. When you look back at that win you had against Castro back in January, how do you feel about it now? How do you think that performance went for you?
The performance went exactly how it was supposed to. You know, we had a great training camp throughout that fight. And, you know, we executed, you know, everything that we wanted to do in that fight. We were able to do, break him down and get the victory the way we got it. You know, but, you know, as of right now, I'm just looking forward to this Saturday. I got my mind focused on this opponent that I have coming up with me right now. You know, with him, Rene Palacios, he's a good fighter. I like to challenge myself. You know, there's actually there was a lot of guys that Carl will tell you that didn't accept this fight. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Rene Palacios, he took it quickly, and I respect him for that. You know what I'm saying? I see that he fights with his heart on his sleeve. His style is something that's challenging, and I'm looking forward to it.
Carl, you want to go down the list?
We don't have enough time, but as I mentioned in the initial press conference, and I believe this, Shushu's the best story of the year, and will, I think, continue to be that. You know, looking back at that night in January at Madison Square Garden, he lives 11 miles from Madison Square Garden in Brownsville, and a lot of people don't get out of Brownsville. But to get out of Brownsville and do what he did and win the title that night is just the best story in boxing that keeps going. And to reward him, we put him in with a 19-0 southpaw puncher from Mexico to celebrate that. So, but he had, you know, he'll fight anybody in the division. Rene stepped up and took the challenge, and here we are.
Shushu, to me, what was most impressive about that win was you had to go through adversity to get it. You had to walk through fire a little bit to get that win. You closed the show spectacularly. What did you learn from that experience last January?
I mean, well, to be honest, it wasn't too much that I learned because it was something that I've already seen in myself that others just haven't seen. I have that championship mentality. You know, I've been through adversity all of my life. Just coming up in Brownsville, losing my brother, plenty of other things that I've gone through in life. All of the losses that I've put on myself, self-sabotaging and then praying to God and getting over those things. That's the real journey and the fights in life. You know what I'm saying? So me going through all of that, I knew I was going to be able to go through something small like that inside the ring, conquer that, and then become victorious. So it was nothing to me.
You've got one belt now in the 126-pound division. You've made it clear to everyone that you want all four. You want to be undisputed at 126. What kind of message do you want to send to the rest of this division on Saturday?
Man, to be honest, I'm not really focused on the future right now. I'm focused on this Saturday. I'm focused on getting through Rene Palacios, and then once that day comes, that day is going to come. Oh, I also wanted to kind of touch base on a little something. Big shout out to Bob Arum, Brooklyn in the house. Hey, man, I was a little disappointed last time press conference, man, when I mentioned the Bone Thugs and Harmony in New York with Biggie, the collab. We've been doing this. How you ain't know that? How you ain't know that collaboration, man?
I'm a white guy from Boston.
Nah, man. You gotta know Biggie and Bone Thug, bro. This has always been Brooklyn. It's always been New York, and it's always been Cleveland, baby. Hey, listen, I'm super happy to bring that collaboration back to the city. And it's the Shushu Show, man. We're gonna perform. We're gonna have a great time, and I can't wait to see y'all.
Well, good luck to you, Shushu. Always entertaining in the ring. Looking forward to seeing you back in action on Saturday night. Albert Bell stepping up and stepping in for this fight. Vic Green representing Albert. I want to ask you first, when you got the call to take on this fight, Albert was preparing for a showdown against Andy Cruz July 18th. What was your reaction when this opportunity came up?
It's something that, I called him immediately. And we talked and said he wanted to talk to, his dad about it. He was his head trainer. And, he called me back and said, man, I'm ready. He was in Colorado Springs already. He already, he's been training. And he said, let's go. Now if he tells me that he's confident in this, then I'm confident because I know what he can do and others do as well.
So what was, I guess, your feeling? You asked him what his feeling was. His dad, very different type of opponent. I mean, Andy Cruz fights one way, Abdullah Mason fights the other. One was a title eliminator. Right. Now it's for the full title. What was going through your mind as this all being processed?
I mean, it's a long. It's skipping the eliminator, going straight to the title. I mean, Abdullah, we know Abdullah is a phenom, and so you kind of, you think for a second, but again, if he tells me I can do it, I'm going to believe him because I've seen him in the ring. And, I feel like the big question here is Albert Bell really that guy? He's been avoided. He got the #1 in the WBO. He was #1 for over a year. And he's avoided. He's been avoided by everybody at 130 pounds from 2019 on after he beat Andy Vinces. So the question is Albert Bell really like that? And he's going to show it on Saturday, when we hear in the new.
All right, Albert, we'll turn to you. When you got this call, you were preparing to fight Andy Cruz. What was your thinking as you were trying to make this decision?
I mean, it caught me out by surprise, It was an ideal opponent for me. I didn't really have thoughts on fighting Abdullah, especially no time soon. But everything made sense, So talked to my pops about it. Talked to the Masons. And stepped in, say the card, get my world title opportunity, and put on the show for all of Ohio.
You're preparing to face Andy Cruz, who fights a certain style. Abdullah fights another style. How many changes did you have to make in the last couple of weeks you've been preparing for this?
I mean, it's boxing. We at the top level. We've been in there with all the styles in the world. Cruz do fight a more moving style. I got some experience with Abdullah already, so just tailored the adjustments to that, and really it's just about being in shape and being prepared. Boxing is all about adjustments.
A lot of people, when this fight was announced, look at your record, look how long you've been around, and wondered, why has this guy not gotten this kind of opportunity before? How would you answer that?
I mean, I get turned down by a lot of guys. I'm not saying that in a cocky way or like a boogeyman or nothing like that, but a lot of guys say no when I cross the table. I would have had the name that I was supposed to have, but was delayed is not denied, and we're here now, so that's all that matters. You were once, I believe, promoted for a while by Top Rank. Is there any motivation to knock off one of their best guys? Man, me and Top Rank, we always had a good relationship. Shout out to Bob Arum for giving me a chance all the way back then, promoted with me for years. It just, it was an amicable split, and it made sense. It's a full circle moment that we're here fighting it for Top Rank for the WBO title that I was trying to get at a different weight class, but like I said, it's a full circle moment, and we here now. We happy for it. We thankful and we grateful. So you're not going to reveal your entire game plan, but what do you need to do to beat this man on Saturday? Just be the best version of myself. I know he's coming to be the best version of himself. He's prepared. I'm prepared. We ready. We two top fighters. We professionals. We both Ohioans. We got history with each other, and it's going to be a show for sure. A little bit of extra juice, Toledo versus Cleveland. Does that add a little bit something to it? As far as the city's probably wise, but between me and him, I don't really think it's all like that. It's not a fight where we got to talk stuff and brag. We know what we got to do when we get in there, and it's gonna be a great fight for sure. All right, looking forward to it, Albert. Abdullah, from Riyadh to Cleveland, making your first defense of this 135-pound title. You're going to do it in a packed house at the Wolstein Center on Saturday night. You've been fighting in the Cleveland area before, but now headlining as a world champion. Is there something a little bit special about that?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm super excited. This is something that me and my brother's been looking forward to doing since we were amateurs. We fought on the same card a few times as amateurs, and all of us together, we did it, on the last show that my father threw here in Cleveland, and it was huge. And at that time, he was like, yo, when we do this on a professional level, it's going to be big for Cleveland. And, this is it's big for not only Cleveland now, but it's on TNT, so this is a national stage, a world stage, DAZN, and I'm just excited to be able to put this show on with two of my brothers on a card. Have you felt that since you've been back, how big a deal this is for Cleveland as you've been back in the city? Yeah, for sure. Not just for this fight, but leading up to this fight, my past 10, 15 fights, every time I have a fight, I go out to another city and, perform that. I come back. They say, man, when you going to fight in Cleveland? When you going to fight in Cleveland? Next fight, when you going to fight in Cleveland? For the World Championship, when you going to fight in Cleveland? So it's finally here. And I'm excited for it, so Cleveland going to show up, and we're going to do our thing as we always do. 21 years old, you go over to Riyadh, and you fight an experienced guy in Sam Noakes. You had to dig deep to get the win that night. How much better are you as a fighter because of that experience? I feel like it was definitely a much-needed experience, And that's not a type of fight that you fight all the time in your career. You know, that's something I felt like I had to do that night. You know, each night is different. And it definitely, you know, gave me some insight on how I go about the rest of my fights in my career. So it was definitely a well-needed experience and a great fight.
So you've been, or you were, for a couple of months preparing for Joe Cordina, who fights a certain style. Then you get a phone call saying Joe Cordina can't fight, can't get into the U.S. But we got Albert Bell here. What was your response to that?
It was definitely unexpected. You know, Albert Bell, that's our guy, you know, from Toledo. But, you know, it's boxing. You got to be prepared for anything. And I'm prepared to come out on top. Everything happens for a reason. And one thing I do want to say is I'm the youngest world champion in boxing for a reason. And I'm prepared to, you know, show that when I step in the ring.
When you're younger in the amateur ranks, you got to fight all different types of guys, all different types of styles. But how much change do you have to make to prepare for Albert Bell after preparing for Joe Cordina?
I mean, boxing is you know, it's offense, it's defense, it's IQ, and you got to put it together, tailor it to the person you step in the ring with. So I know that with an opponent switch, I just got to tailor it to the person who's across the ring from me, you know. And that's Albert Bell. It sounds weird when I say it now, but it's Albert Bell. So fight night, I'm prepared to do what I got to do to come out on top.
So how do you expect this fight to play out?
We're going to see Saturday. Make sure y'all tune in. It's going to be definitely an exciting fight show. The first time boxing has been on TNT. And me, my brothers, you know, everybody, Tiger, Shushu, we ready to get it on.
You're going to be ringside watching your brothers? You're going to be able to, how do you handle that? How do you handle that dynamic?
This is the first time it's happened in the pro, so I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but we ready to all step in there and come out with a dub.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Abdullah. Albert, everybody here on stage on Saturday. Carl, would you like to have a final word?
Sure. Just shout out to Albert Bell and his team for accepting this late challenge. We're not going to ask him to trim that beard. We tried that last week. That didn't turn out so good, so you're good with that. But, you know, you mentioned that Abdullah is the youngest world champion in boxing, and he is, but at the end of the day, he's a fighter, and this is what fighters do. If there's a change, he fights. We would have gotten a welterweight. He wouldn't have cared, but that's what Abdullah is. He's a fighter, and we're all going to see a lot of this on Saturday night.
All right, excited to see everybody here on stage on Saturday. We're going to face these guys off, take some pictures. We'll be back here on Friday for the weigh-in. And again, Wolstein Center, Saturday night, live on DAZN and TNT in the U.S. You don't want to miss it. All right, Sergio, a respectful press conference, but an interesting one. I think this card kicks off in earnest with a very interesting fight. You've got Tiger Johnson taking on Christopher Guerrero. Somebody's O has got to go in this fight.
Guerrero, the Mexican-Canadian, or the Canadian-Mexican. Yeah, undefeated. I love these type of matchups. It shows you exactly what type of prospect and future contender and hopefully future champion you have in both these guys, especially that man right there where the burden is on his shoulders in Tiger Johnson.
Yeah, Tiger Johnson, 2020 U.S. Olympian, 17-0. in the pro ranks, climbing the rankings, one of those great top-ranked prospects they're hoping has a big future as a world champion. But Christopher Guerrero, as I said, undefeated himself, 16-0. He believes he's the man in this weight class. He's got the regional belt on his shoulder. He's looking to do big things. And this guy to my screen left, Shushu Carrington, now a world champion at 126 pounds in his backyard of New York City. Now he makes a title defense against Rene Palacios. And you heard Carl Moretti say it, Sergio. Here you go, Shushu. Your first title defense, a hard-punching southpaw. Good for you.
No, not only that, but back-to-back tough forward Mexicans, front foot Mexicans, power punching Mexicans. You always want to see how that East Coast, boxing style does. Shushu Carrington has a little bit of everything, but I love the fact that he doesn't turn back challenges against hard pressing fighters like this. Carl Moretti knows what he's saying against Shushu.
Yeah, a lot to like about Shushu Carrington. Went through the fire against Carlos Castro, got hurt in the middle rounds of that fight, winds up winning it by spectacular knockout. 3 other champions out there at 126, and Shushu is targeting all of them. First, though, he's going to have to go up against Rene Palacios, who is undefeated for a reason. As you can see, not taking one step backwards in this fight. I think that's going to be a firefight in the co-main event on Saturday. All right, here we go with the main event. Not the main event we expected when this card was announced a couple of months ago, but an interesting one nonetheless. Abdullah Mason, the youngest world champion in boxing, taking on Albert Bell. And Sergio, right away, the size, the height of Albert Bell, a pretty clear advantage.
Albert Bell knows how to use that height. He knows how to use his reach. Believe it or not, he's a taller fighter, but he doesn't have the longer reach. It's Mason who has 1 inch longer arms, and that's why he's so explosive on the outside. But once he gets on the inside, that's when he's dangerous. But will he be able to break that range from the taller, rangier fighter in Bell?
You know, Albert Bell was a fighter on the rise for many years. He had a great win against Andy Vences in 2019, just hasn't been able to climb the ladder onto the big stage since. You see these two guys from competing towns, but clearly good friends. Abdullah Mason looking to turn on, make a great performance here in his first defense in Cleveland.
Former sparring partners, that could always be dangerous. You know, you don't really want to know, too much of your opponent. You don't want to be familiar with that opponent. I basically ignored all my sparring partners when it came to fighting them. Mason saving the show, doing just that, and facing the fire.
And you like to talk about the hometown curse. This adds another layer to it when you have both of your brothers fighting on the undercard, when you've got your dad training them. There's a lot going on in the world of Abdullah Mason right now, Sergio. How would you feel if you had 2 of your brothers fighting on one of your cards?
Well, listen, if my dad was named Valiant Mason, just like Abdullah Mason's father, I wouldn't be worried about nothing.
I think you're going to change your son's name to that by the end of this week.
Name. I love that name. But look, this is a man who grew champions. And every fighter on this card, the Mason family, knows how to squab. They know how to fight. They know how to box. But I love how they carry themselves with respect, even temperament. But, man, once that bell rings, they're vicious.
You know, Abdullah Mason, I don't think he would have fought for a world title his last time out if there wasn't the money involved in Saudi Arabia. Just sometimes the opportunity is too much to pass up on. But he had to dig deep in that last fight. What do you think he gained from a tough fight against Sam Noakes?
Well, that's the one thing we want to see with every fighter. How is he going to react when he gets put down, when he faces adversity, when he gets cut? Abdullah Mason passed all those tests except being dropped, but Sam Noakes was in the fight all the way to the end. He passed the test in a fight of the year type, and now we know what we have with Abdullah Mason, one of the youngest champions in boxing.
Do we know what we have yet, though, in Albert Bell? Like, I watch the tape, I see the physical tools, I see the obvious skill. But he's 33 years old, and he's never fought on the championship level. That Andy Vences fight was, I'm doing the math, 7 years ago now. Like, what do we know about Albert Bell?
Not much, but that's the scary part.
Great analysis.
No, listen, that's the scary part. When you really know what type of fight is he going to bring. We know that he's a lanky fighter. He looks vulnerable. He looks susceptible, tall, his chin in the air, but he's undefeated. He has enough to keep you on the outside, but once he goes on the inside, digs that body, he knows how to fight tall. He knows how to take a shot. And just when you break that range and you think he's going to be vulnerable with his chin in the air, he's hitting you with uppercuts. Tricky fighter, especially as a late replacement. So there's a lot of unknowns that can make it tricky for a fighter like Abdullah Mason, who's a younger fighter by almost a decade.
And I think the experience of Albert Bell could be a factor in all this. Like, you got to believe Abdullah Mason is coming into this fight with a lot of energy coursing through him. He's in his backyard. He's looking to make a big statement. He's fighting with his brothers on the undercard. Maybe there's a little bit too much energy. We've seen Abdullah Mason come out with a little bit too much energy before, Sergio. He got dropped in a fight a few fights ago. Maybe that's something Albert Bell can take advantage of.
Look, there's a lot of things that he could take advantage of, but the thing about Mason is that he gets hit and he gets meaner. He comes right back after you. I love everything I see about Mason. I just think the tricky part is going to be breaking that distance. If he can break that distance, Mason does love to punch really hard from that southpaw stance, but once he gets on the inside and if he can rip those body shots, make that tall frame get smaller and smaller, then we know that Mason has a game plan, because you got to remember, he was training to fight a shorter opponent, a boxer on the back foot. Now he has someone on the back foot, but that's long and fights tall. So those are the little tricky things that Mason needs to get past.
Yeah, Abdullah Mason, youngest world champion in all of boxing, 22 years old. You see him there posing with his brothers, who will open the show on Saturday before Abdullah Mason defends his world title in the main event. Tickets flying off the shelves for this event at the Wolstein Center. Doing really well. Going to be live as well on DAZN and TNT in the U.S. Early prediction from you, Sergio, from this fight?
It's going to be tricky, but I like Mason, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him.
And here you got the list of the youngest world champions in all of boxing. Abdullah Mason topping that list, just 22 years old. You see Christian Medina may be in line for another world title unification shot at 26 against Bam Rodriguez, who is right there behind him. Two guys just 26 years old. Hamza Shiraz coming in at 27. Ricardo Sandoval, unified champion at 112 pounds. And amazingly, Sergio, Devin Haney, still just 27 years old, has accomplished a lot in his young career, but 27 years old, looking to do big things. But Abdullah Mason, just 22, looking to do something special. What do you think? Like, what are some of the keys to victory? We talked about for Abdullah Mason, breaking that distance. If you are Albert Bell and his team, and you were preparing to fight Andy Cruz, what do you got to do against Abdullah Mason?
Well, you're preparing for a boxer on the back foot and Cruz, a brilliant, scientific boxer in Cruz. Now you're not dealing with that with Mason. I would exchange with Mason. Mason gets hit with left hooks, just like we saw with Xander Zayas and Boots Ennis. He was getting hit with those left hooks. So exchanging with him, going through the fire. They say not to hook with a hooker, but when Mason is coming from you with a left-handed stance, his right hand is lead, and he likes to exchange. So exchanging hooks with a southpaw, I think that's going to benefit Bell.
I got to ask you, because you are a big proponent of a shorn face when
what
a fighter
does shorn
fights.
mean?
Shorn, shave, cut close, Okay. No hair, no beard cut for Albert Bell in this one. That's a long beard. I sat up there next to him. That is one of the longest beards I've ever seen a boxer have. What do you think of that?
Well, listen, I'm fine with beards as long as the commission's fine with it. It depends what state you're in. If I were the opponent of Albert Bell, me and my trainer and my team will absolutely have him trim or even shave down that beard because, like I said, with in the fight in New York when it came to Boots Ennis, it's padding. You can't see the chin. It doesn't expose where you're supposed to hit. It hides the target. There's a lot of things. So you don't want to give a fighter too many advantages.
Well, Abdullah Mason clearly comfortable with it. He's going to go in, letting Albert Bell have that full beard. Should be a fantastic fight at the Wolstein Center on Saturday. A lot to come, though, here this week. We've got the weigh-in on Friday, right back here at the Hilton. All these guys will be weighing in here on the stage. Then Saturday, July 4th, Independence Day at the Wolstein Center. Abdullah Mason against Albert Bell. 2 world championship fights on the line. Prospect galore. Everybody named Mason is going to be fighting on this card. Dad Mason's going to be running around the ring all night long. You can catch it live on TNT on the U.S. and globally on DAZN. That's it for us. We can't wait to see this fight go down on Saturday. Abdullah Mason making the first defense of his 135-pound title, taking on a slick boxer in Albert Bell, who also has an undefeated record. All that happens Saturday here on DAZN.